Kamala Harris finally squeezing a border visit into her campaign schedule after seeing it become a top issue for voters. Harris forgetting that she's been in the White House for the past 4 years and claims she can fix the border crisis as president.
These are serious problems, and we know Donald Trump won't solve them. When he was president, he did nothing to fix our immigration system. We need a president who cares more about solving problems than playing political games and demeaning people full time.
Okay, but Donald Trump is calling out Kamala's tough on the border BS.
To all rapists, drug dealers, human traffickers, and murderers, welcome to America. It is important that you send a thank you note to Lion Kamala Harris, because without her, you would not be here. But we don't want you here, and you're going to get the hell out very soon. We're getting you out.
Getting you out. Jesse, you covered her visit to the border last night live.
Unfortunately, I did.
Yes. Do you think it helped her at all or hurt her? She looked quite elegant in her expensive jewelry.
How much was that necklace that she was wearing?
$500,000.
62K.
It was $500,000.
Okay, so that's a very. This wasn't a border visit. This was a photo op. We timed it. The minute she walks out of the truck to the minute she gets going, it was 19 minutes, Greg.
Yes.
And you should have seen the behind the scenes. There was just a frenzy of staffers moving all of the cameramen out of the way so they could get the perfect shot. They finally got the shot they wanted of her walking next to the wall that she says is medieval. But they got it. They wouldn't let us listen to any of the conversation she was having with Border Patrol. And she never took any questions while she was at the border. Then she skedaddled back up to her little rally, which was not really a serious event. They had some woman warming up the crowd like Waltz in a dress, all pumped up. And then she didn't act very serious about it. She was joking and laughing. And then, you know, she says she's going to cut this deal with the Chinese to stop the fentanyl importation to the cartels. Last year, Biden bragged about cutting a deal with the Chinese to stop the fentanyl, and she's saying she's going to do the same thing. There was no solutions, nothing. It's not going to make a dent at all. She's cooked on the border.
Jessica, she claimed, and quite forcefully in front of thousands, that Donald Trump did nothing to fix immigration. If he did nothing to fix immigration, why did President Biden do all those executive orders to undo what he did? Answer that question, Ms. Tarlov, if you can. Okay, I can see you're speechless. Speechless.
Yes, I am. I find myself completely speechless. Listen, this is definitely an issue where Democrats have to hew more towards a traditional Republican position on this. It doesn't mean that they're going to go full bore and say, I'm going to do everything exactly the way that Trump did. And it has been resonating with people. Like, the bipartisan border deal has a high approval rating. People know about it. They know that Donald Trump told conservatives, I want to run on this, so don't pass it. And they have Mitch McConnell saying so, James Lankford, Mitt Romney, et cetera. But of course, you know, there's tough talk now that wasn't there before. But the American public is taking note of it, and it is resonating. In the latest Quinnipiac poll, he only has an 8-point advantage on who's best to handle the border. And I think that part of the reason that she is breaking through a bit is that he has moved over to demonizing immigrants, even legal ones like the Haitians, or taking the numbers that we were talking about on Friday, the number of, you know, quote unquote, convicted murderers, rapists, et cetera, and saying this is all Biden and Harris's fault. And to the extent, I mean, to speak to its inaccuracy, the Department of Homeland Security had to release a statement saying that the ICE figures were being completely misinterpreted, saying the data includes individuals who entered the country over the past 40 years and also includes people that are in jail, not people who are out there roaming the streets. And that's obviously a key piece of information in this puzzle. And the American public is smart enough to know that the narrative that Donald Trump is putting forward does not accurately represent what's going on. It doesn't mean there aren't problems, but it does mean that they want more nuance than they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs, get them out.
I couldn't find the counter numbers to what ICE had released, and I definitely looked for them.
It doesn't matter. The numbers are...
It does.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
Because on Friday when we talked about this, the idea was that this was a Biden-Harris problem. No one said, except for me, I think, that this covers the entire timeline.
No,
that someone who entered
I said it
under
correlates with
H.W. Bush.
I said in response, it correlates to the release of criminals in other countries. I didn't say it was all that.
Even the letter from DHS says that it also includes many who are under jurisdiction or currently incarcerated by federal, state, or local enforcement partners, and the vast majority whose custody determination was made long before this administration.
Are you rendered speechless?
Yes, I am.
Enjoy it.
Okay. You enjoy this. Who's been lying for years and telling us that the border is secure? Who has been lying for years and telling us that they're vetting all the people who are coming through? Who is the head of DHS? That's Mayorkas. Mayorkas is the same one who issues this letter saying, oh, these are the people from the last 40 years.
Can't trust him.
Yeah, you can't trust him because he is a committed liar. This guy lies. He hasn't shown up with the Secret Service with the 2 attempted assassinations on the president. He is a political operative. So let's just rest assured that what is going on in this country is that people are being allowed in who are not being vetted. And even as Jesse did this last week, you take a small percentage of criminals that if we've got 12 million, 15 million people, including the known and the unknown gotaways, we have 100,000 people who are dying of fentanyl poisoning. This woman is a prosecutor, and she's now going to save us. The woman who created the mess, the so-called border czar, she is going to be our hero. She is going to make stopping fentanyl, her top priority. You're lying. You were a prosecutor. You knew how to do it. You didn't do it. You got 300,000 children who are missing that you can't account for. Where are you on that? Children who are now being sex trafficked, who are being involved in child labor. I'm sick of this political nonsense. And let me tell you something. If somebody tells me one more time about how we have a broken immigration system, we do not. We have a statute that says you cannot come into the United States unless you meet certain requirements, including a visa. And if you're going to tell me they're all claiming asylum, 170,000 of them this year didn't show up for any of their court appointments. And as for that so-called border bill, there's the only thing that she can say she's done in the last 3.5 years. All it does is allow the same number of people to come in, but facilitate more of them getting into the country with more border patrol, who, by the way, never endorsed Biden, although we lied about it and said they did until 2 minutes later they said we never endorsed him. And I got one more thing to say, Greg. Okay. 3.5 years. You know how many times she texted about the border? 9 times. 0 in 2022, 0 in 2023, 2 times in 2021, and 7 in 2024. 9 times in 3 years and 9 months. Guess how many in the last 2 days? 16 times. It's all about optics, and you're right. They were directing the cameras, get her in this position, get her in that position. She wasn't mic'd up because they can't trust what the woman's going to say. They can't trust what Border Patrol's going to say. Like the Border Patrol guy who retired last year, the head of Border Patrol, who said, I'm sorry, Greg, I got one more thing.
Dana, are you interested in talking today, or shall we let Judge just do the rest of the show?
I won't talk next time. Who said
I doubt that.
We never said they never called us once, Biden or Harris, about the border. That's it. I've seen my time.
I'll just say it's too little too late for her on this issue.
Okay. Oh, hey, weirdo Tim Walz is reportedly wetting his pants over tomorrow's big debate.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.